Hi everyone, this is Shashank Singh and we are in the way of learning Python programming language. In this video, we are going to discuss some of the built-in functions in Python, right? So first of all, we should know what are built-in functions and why we're gonna use it actually. So these functions are predefined in Python, which has already served by the Python developers, right? So instead of writing a big logic, you can simply use these functions to get the same desired output within a snap of finger. So let's explore these predefined functions using Jupyter Notebook in order to build a deep understanding dotted around the same, right? So here I'm using Jupyter Notebook for writing code, and these are the functions we are going to discuss on, right? So first of all, we'll see what are absolute function. So as you can see on my screen as well, it will return the absolute value of a number, right? So first of all, we should know what are absolute values. Absolute value is defined as a distance from zero, and obviously distance will be positive, right? So let me write few codes to let you guys understand how exactly we're gonna use absolute function, right? So abs, I'm putting negative integer, let's say 56, and if you will print this x, you will get 56. So if you are writing minus 56, you are getting plus positive 56, because as I told you, absolute value is distance from zero, which will be also positive always, right? So let me write few positive number as well. So if I am putting here 34, we'll get 34, right? Similarly, you can use the same thing with complex number as well, 3 plus 4j. So we'll get 5.0, which is the absolute value of this complex number 3 plus 4j, right? So that's how you can use absolute function, right? So next one is all function, right? So all function will return true if all elements in iterable objects are true, otherwise it will return false. So we'll check how exactly it's gonna work, right? So let me write list 1. Let me put few elements inside this list, 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, right? Comma, let's say I'm writing Sashank, right? Let me write true here, let me write false here, right? If you will write x is equal to all, inside this function you have to provide the same variable name here, right? If you will print x, so you will get false. The reason behind it is one of the element throughout the all elements is false, this one, right? So as this element is false, it will return false, because as I told you, it will return true only if all the elements in an iterable objects are true. So these all are iterable objects and one of the element is false, right? So let me write something else. Let's say if you are writing 23 here, right? So it will return true because all the elements is returning true, right? So even if you will put 0 here, you will get false. So that's how you can use the same thing in set, tuple, and set and tuple as well, right? So let's say I'm writing set here is equal to, I'm putting few values 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 0, right? So I'm writing x is equal to all function. Inside this all function, we can write the same variable name, which is set1, right? Let me print this x. So you'll get false because one of the value is 0, right? If you'll get 1, so you'll get true result, right? But there is one twist with dictionary. You can similarly you can practice it with tuple as well. So you can simply use the you can mention the tuple here, you can do the same thing, you'll get the same desired result, right? Now next one is dictionary. So let me write dict1 as a variable name. Let me put few key value pair. So 0, which is a key, now colon, now we have to put some value. Let me write some string type, so shank, right? Now separated by comma, I am providing one more key value pair. Let's say I'm writing 1 here. Now what I'm doing here is sing, right? So this is two key value pair inside dict1 variable. Let me write x is equal to all. Now if you have to provide the same variable name inside this function. If you are printing x, right, so you are getting false. The reason behind it is one of the key is 0, right? So let me write 10 here, so you'll get true because all the keys are returning true, right? So as I told you, there is one twist with dictionary. The twist is For dict, all function will return will check only keys, not the values, right? So it is checking the keys. So let me write, let's say if I'm putting 0 here, right, and false here, false, so you'll get true only because it's not checking value. So even if you will put some 0 and false inside the value, so it won't check, right? But here if you'll write 0, so you'll get false, right, because it's checking the keys. So you have to remember this concept with, if you are using with dictionary, so you have to make sure you are what you are writing and what you are expecting, right? So for dictionary, all function will check only keys, not the values, right? So this is all about all function. Now let's talk about enumerate function, which is very important functions and might be asked as an interview question as well, right? So it will take a collection and return as an enumerate object, right? So coming on the definition, I mean, like it's enumerate function adds counter to an iterable object and return it, and the return object is enumerated object, right? So basically it will take two parameters. First one is iterable, which is a sequence, and iterator, an object that supports the iteration, right? And second one is start, which is optional. If start is omitted, then enumerate function will start from 0 by default, right? So let's just see how exactly we're going to use this in while writing code, right? So let me show you, if you are not using enumerate function, how exactly you can achieve the same desired result. So I'm writing index, right? So index count, this is a variable name, and I'm initiating with 0. What I'm doing here is I'm writing for loop here, right? So sorry, name is equal to Shashank. I'm putting some string value. Now let me iterate through all of the elements of this particular string, right? So for iteration we have to provide a variable name. So letter, this particular variable will responsible to iterate through all of the elements of this particular string, right? So for letter, if you are not if you don't know how to write for loop, so you can go and check it out in my previous video, right? So here you have to use for keyword, then letter. This letter will be responsible to iterate through all of the elements of this particular string, right? In, now you have to provide the same variable name here. Now you have to write colon, right? What I'm doing here is I am printing at index of curly braces the letter is curly braces, sorry, I didn't put it the string, yep, dot format. Now index count, we have to put index count here. Now letter is letter, right? So this will it iterate, as I told you, this will iterate through all of the elements of this particular string, right? So we have to provide letter here. Let me increment this. So index count is equal to index count plus 1. So you can directly write like this, right? So instead of writing this, you can write index count is equal to index count plus 1. So if you'll execute this, you will get at index of 0 the letter is S, right? So what I'm doing here is, my main motto for writing this code is to iterate through all of the elements and wanted to know the index position of this particular string, right? This particular letters of this string, right? So index position at 0th index letter is S, right? At first index letter is H, at second index is A, right? Similarly we can print the index of these letters inside this particular string, right? So we can achieve the same goal using enumerate function as well. So how we can achieve it? So let me write word here, right? Word is equal to, let me write few let's say if I'm writing Shashank, right? What I'm doing here is I'm writing x is equal to, I'm using enumerate function then we have to provide the same name. So as I have used all function as well, so I have wrote the same variable name here. Similarly, we can write same variable name inside this enumerate function, right? If we will print x, right, let me cast it to list. So if you'll do this post execution, you will get all the letters of this particular string with index position starting from 0, right? So enumerate function, as I told you, in the case of enumerate function, there is one, it will take two parameter. First one is iterable, which is a sequence iterator, an object that supports iteration, right? And second one is start, which is optional. So if start is omitted, then enumerate function will start from 0 by default. So it's starting from 0 by default because here iterable is there but start is not there. So let's say if you have to start it from 14, right? So let's say if you have to start counting from 14, 15, 16 like this, so you have to simply mention this start position, right? So it will start from 14. Here if you have to implement the same, you have to start from 14. You have to initiate the, I mean, like, you have to initiate the index count from 14, right? So it will start from 14, 15, 16. Similarly, you can do the same thing with enumerate function. So as I told you, I mean, like, built-in function will make your life easier while writing Python code, right? So this is how you can use enumerate function. Next one is input, right? So it will allow user input, which is very simple, right? So let's check how exactly we can use input function, right? So let me print, if I'm printing what is your uh, let's say I'm writing hobbies, right? Now x is equal to input, which will allows user input, right? What I'm doing here is print x, simple, right? So once you will execute this, it will ask what is your hobbies, so user can enter here, right? So let's say I'm writing here playing football, just mentioning, right? So playing football, right? Here you can write it like my let's say dancing, right? So my hobby is dancing, that's it. You can use space here. If you, let's say, gymming, I like gymming, so my hobby is gymming. Like this you can allow user to provide input, right? So that's why you use input function here, right? Next one is list, right? So let me write a set. Let's say if I'm writing set here, so what I'm doing here is, let's say 1 comma 23 comma 45 comma 56 comma 43, let's say 567, right? So this is my set. What I'm doing here is x is equal to, so let me write few more number, right? So we're checking list, x is equal to list function. Inside this list function, if I'm putting set 1, so it will convert it to set, right? So let me print x, so you will get list, right? However, if you will print set1, you will get set, right? Similarly, you can use it, you can try it with tuple as well, right? Next one is max and min, right? So max, it will return the maximum value and it will return the minimum value, right? So let's say this is a set. Also you can use type function to check what is this. So this is set. However, if you have to check for x, so x is list, right? So this is list. Similarly, you can use max function here. Inside this max, if you put this variable name, you will get 567, right? Because 567 is a max value, right? let me write x here. So inside x also, like it's I mean, like 567 is a max value. Similarly, you can use min function as well. If you'll put min, so obviously 1 is the minimum value, right? So you can, similarly you can use max and min function. Last one is zip function, right? So basically zip function will return zip object, which is an iterator of a tuple, wherein first item in each past iterator is paired together, and then second item in each past iterator will be paired together. But the twist is, if iterator have different length, then the iterator with at least length will determine the length of new iterator, right? So let me, I mean, like, write a code how exactly we're gonna use zip function, right? That will be more easier for you guys. So let's say I'm writing top1, which is a tuple 1, right? I'm providing few values. Let's say Sashank, comma Ranjan, comma Rachit, right? Okay, fine. What I'm doing here is tup2, which is a second variable name. I'm writing the second one. Let's say I'm writing 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6 comma 7 comma 8 comma 9, right? So there are 9 elements in this tup2 variable. However, in tup1 variable there are 4 elements, right? So as I told you, if the iterator have different length, then the iterator with at least item will decide the length of new iterator, right? So at least item is uh, so tup1 have at least item, right? So let me zip this first. Let me write, let's say I'm writing x is equal to zip. What I'm doing here is I'm writing top1 comma top2, right? Print tuple, let's say x, right? So you will get Sashank 1, Sashank, Ranjan, Rachit, Rakesh, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. But rest of the elements get omitted. Why? The reason behind it is because the top one have only 4 elements. So as I told you, if the iterator have different length, then the iterator with the at least item will decide the length of new iterator. So there are 4 elements with I mean, like, if you will zip top1 and top2, you will get only set of 4 elements, because 4 is the at least element of top1, right? So rest of the elements get omitted. So that's what I wanted to show you. So this is how you can use zip function, right? So this is all about for this video. We'll discuss few of the more built-in functions in our upcoming video. Thanks for watching this.